millennials. For this episode, we will be talking about does it cause much stress being an officer than being a rating? Stress is defined as a tension afflicted to an object caused by outside stimulus such as demand or challenges. This may come in many forms such as physical, emotional, and psychological stress. Seafaring is undeniably one of the most stressful professions there is. The physical distance alone can break a human's heart. The isolation can deteriorate the soul, and the harsh environment can lead to the exhaustion of the body. Therefore, no seafarer is safe from stress and fatigue. All the men and women who have ventured out into the sea has known the meaning of the word stress. Each one of us has different level of stress tolerance as well as our adaptive qualities towards stress. Therefore, comparing stress levels in the work of officers and ratings is horrendous. Coming from the perspective of going through all the ranks from cadet, wiper to chief engineer, I know firsthand that the level of stress remains constant. What changes rather is the type of stress that impacts more. For example, being a rating such as an oiler has a high level of stress that comes with this rank. After all, who would be foolish enough to give twice as much salary as their shore based counterparts if not for a hard job after all? Salary is always proportional to the task at hand. The entry salary of seafarer is way more than that of a land job because of the perils and the challenges that comes with it. You serve as the manual arm of the officers, assisting during maintenance, being the helpful eyes and ears around the engine room. The stress is coming more from a physical form because of the more tedious labor and tasks as well as the emotional form due to isolations from loved ones. However, becoming an officer transforms this physical stress leaning more onto the mental form as you progress in your career in becoming an officer. It will also take the form of psychological stress due to the burden of supervision, management, and added responsibility. Everyone has their own battles on board. Never compare or brag that your burden is much heavier than the others. Salary may be argued to alleviate the stress, but when it comes to the toil it has on a particular person, salary is independent of the fatigue a job entails. To illustrate it more further, these are the everyday battles that each rank faces once he or she took that first step on the embarkation ladder until he or she signs off. Cadet. The pressure to learn the jobs on the engine and the deck department, as well as the jobs of the junior officer as quickly as possible, as well as the endless thinking of how his or her companions evaluate his or her performance. For the messman or the mess boy, it is the pressure to serve the officers as well as the crew with the best dining experience as possible, making sure the galley is always clean, along with the utensils, while maintaining a good rapport with everyone on board. For the chief cook, the pressure of planning for 9 months or 6 months menu, and if the provision supply is still sufficient, what to order in the next provision supply, and the evaluation of his fellow crew on the palatability of his cooking. The effort of pleasing everyone is a strenuous task. For the wipers and oilers, the pressure comes from keeping the engine room in tip top and clean shape, transferring waste oil without fail on the time, cleaning of filters, to keeping the engine running smoothly as well, following the demands of their officers along the way. not to mention being the front man or woman in every cleaning and overhauling operations such as scavenging and economizer cleaning. For the ordinary seaman, also known as OS, and able body, also known as AB, the pressure of keeping the deck facilities in tip top shape, the stress of cargo operations, as well as the watch duties of ensuring vessel is traversing the different seas in a safe and efficient manner. For the chief petty officer, which are the machinists or oiler number one fitter in other company, and the bosun for the deck department, the pressure comes from managing his men or women. Being a chief petty officer entails the duty and pressure of assigning your crew into tasks they will be much more effective completing the work in a much shorter amount of time without compromising quality and most of all safety. For the junior officers and electrician, the pressure of being assigned in supervision of critical shipboard operation, making sure the ship and equipment handled conform to the statutes and regulations, the paperwork and reports that are needed by the persons above the corporate ladder. This is magnified whenever troubles occurred in one of your assigned operations or machinery. And lastly, for the management officers, the pressure of being a leader and a manager of a small community while being subjected to the demand from from the upper hierarchy of the corporate pyramid. The physical stress is gone, mental stress is in. Overseeing the safe and efficient operation of your department and the ship as a whole will also be a huge stress contributor. With each member of our shipboard community placed on board, there is a specific responsibility and duty expected of each one of us. And when there is expectation and demand, stress will always be their byproduct. Stress also conforms to the law of conservation of energy. The amount of stress always stays the same regardless of rank. What changes is the form it is introduced to the person. Till we see again, Camillennials, kudos.